Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from the relationship advice subreddit from a throwaway account who says, my 34 male, wife 31 female is having a meltdown over our daughter's personality. And I don't know what to do. What should I do? I'm a 34-year-old guy and have a 16-year-old stepdaughter. My wife is 31. In high school, my wife was a popular girl stereotype. Pink, blonde, chunky highlights in her brown hair. This was the mid-late 2000s. She was on the cheerleading team, had lots of friends and boyfriends, was well known and liked. She was basically the living embodiment of the picture-perfect girl from those cheesy 2000 high school movies. And then she got pregnant. When she was 15, she had her daughter. She doesn't know who the father is and any potential fathers for the girl up and left way back when. Her daughter is recently 16. I never wanted kids. I found them annoying, but I fell in love with my wife and got married when she was 20 and I was 23 after dating for 2 years. We hit it off and I married her and decided to suck it up around the kid. I never planned to absolutely love being a dad to her specifically. Kids still annoy me, but my daughter, stepdaughter technically, was different. She was quiet, nerdy, even at a young age. I married her mother when she was 5 and we clicked right away. We went on daddy-daughter dates every weekend. I played dolls with her, let her paint my nails and do makeup on me. I drove her to and from school in my cop car. We even did daddy-daughter duo costumes for Halloween. Over the past 2 years, she's developed a darker dress style. I don't know what the proper subculture of her outfits are, but according to her, she dresses like a horror game protagonist and a Monster High character. Purple is her main color she incorporates into the specific aesthetic blend, as she calls it. I don't get it, but maybe that's because I'm a man in my 30s. I don't know. She likes ghosts, tarot cards, vampires, zombies, aliens, creepy Victorian dolls. I don't get it, but I also don't care because if it makes her happy, so what? She's also an introvert and prefers to play games on a computer or read fantasy occult novels rather than hang out with other teens her age. She has friends, so I'm not too worried about her being completely withdrawn. I'm just glad I didn't have to drive her around since she only has her learner's permit currently. My wife hates this. My wife always wanted a girly girl. Pinks and pastels and flowers and all that. She wants our daughter to get a boyfriend, be more social, be a cheerleader like she was. Which in itself is valid. I get it. I'm sure most every parent has preferences for what they want their kid to turn out like. And some disappointment when they stray from that fantasy is valid. Some. My wife will constantly take and hide my daughter's darker room decor. She constantly gets pastel dresses for our daughter, tells her to wipe off her dark eye makeup, tries to set her up on dates with jock types from my daughter's school, and convince her to sign up for both school and summer activities like cheerleading or volleyball. I could have put up with all of that. I really could have, but a few weeks ago, I woke up to my wife finally hitting her breaking point. I woke up in the middle of the night to my wife screaming and having what I can confidently describe as a borderline meltdown. She was crying and saying that all she ever wanted was a normal daughter who likes pink and is a cheerleader and has a boyfriend and will give her grandkids. I had to drag her out the hallway after 30 minutes of this. I kept thinking it would stop, but it kept going on and on. My daughter was just staring at this whole thing in the doorway of her room. What caused this meltdown from my wife? My daughter dyed purple over the blonde streaks and highlights. My wife had forced her to get in her hair, which wasn't even breaking the house rule, as my wife and I have both told her she can do whatever she wants with her hair, as long as she doesn't stain too many towels. It's been weeks, and my daughter won't talk to her mum. My wife is still up with her antics, but now is in overdrive. Every day she brings home some type of trendy clothing in pink or pastels and tries to give it to my daughter. My daughter is getting fed up and stays in her room all day, and has confessed to me she can't wait for school to start back up in a few weeks so she can get out of the house and be with her friends again. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't want to side with anyone in this situation. I understand my wife wants a daughter who she can relate, and my daughter wants a mum who understands her. I don't know what I can or should do. I need help. I need advice. Anyone else really icked out by the wording that the wife, who's 31, going around trying to set her 16-year-old daughter up with jocks, as it says in quotes? But none of the wife's behaviour is appropriate in this situation, and she's just going to push her daughter away and then probably end up on Reddit someday going, oh, why doesn't my daughter like me anymore? Ah, dearie me. First comment, Even Budget, says, you need to side with your daughter. The wife's behaviour is controlling, abusive, and deeply inappropriate. She does not get to decide who her daughter is. Her and your daughter is her own person. She's not a mini-me of anyone. Does your wife want her to get pregnant at 15? Sorry to be so aggressive, but it's time to be blunt here. Does your wife want her to be a teenage mum who doesn't know who the father is? Really? I don't think so. Do you? Nothing you've described about your daughter is harmful or worrying. Literally nothing. And that's really important because that's the only valid reason to interfere. Not because mum wants her to like a certain colour or wear certain clothes. There's nothing valid about that. Your daughter sounds like a cool kid, and even still, who she is now doesn't mean anything about who she will become. I was the piercing, obsessed 13, hair-dyed hippie teen who now is a law professor. I'm still me, and I'm also someone very different from teenage me. Let your daughter be who she is right now, and hope that she allows you to get to know who future her is. If you don't stand up for her now, that's the cool person you're going to miss out on, and she will be right a distance from both of you. ETA. So a day later, a much less serious note, but these Monster High characters are super stylish. There's a Lady Gaga collab doll. I bet your daughter looks cool and stylish in her outfits, and somebody needs to tell your wife, stop trying to make pastel happen. And to steal my goddaughter's favourite retort, if she's 31, your wife's style was popular last century. Opie says definitely not. My wife always stressed to our daughter to not have sex until she felt ready. She always said she would help our daughter get on birth control and have any type of protection she wanted. My wife gave her the talk when our daughter got her period, which I learned is when most girls get that talk. She's always been clear about how she wanted our daughter to be safe and responsible with whoever she ended up getting with, and not to rush things with any partners. Rick Russell TX says, while setting her up with jocks and having meltdowns over her daughter giving her grandkids. This, at best, a case of mixed messages. Opie says, I never understood setting our daughter up with jocks. My daughter has told me about her type before, but we were playfully teasing each other, and she says she likes nerdy guys. She also said that while jock guys are nicer to her on the dates, she just isn't attracted to them. And Tech says, my mum wanted me to be a version of her when I was a teenager too. She lost it on me and my father didn't protect me either. He defended my mum. 30 years later I have a strained relationship with them both. Protect your kid and go tell your wife to get help with her trauma. Opie says, the comments have really slapped some sense into me. I'll admit, I didn't think any of this was that deep. I came on here mostly as a way to vent and get some advice, but now it feels like I've been slapped in the face with reality. I had no idea just how harmful my wife was being to my daughter. I'm ashamed to admit it now, but I really just chalked it up to mother-daughter bickering like all teenagers do. I know I had some pretty nasty fights with my parents at 16 years old. I want to get both of them help. I love my wife, and I love my daughter. So OP came in with her update and said, it's been about a week since I last posted about my wife having a meltdown over how my daughter chose to dress. 2 nights after I posted, I sat my wife down and very bluntly asked her what exactly the problem was. She kept saying she wanted a daughter who was similar to her. But after I kept asking, she broke down and admitted the real reason why she was having her meltdowns. My wife feels that her daughter is the only way for her to have more family in the future. She's estranged from her siblings. Her parents don't speak to her much, and all of her friends from high school stopped talking to her after her pregnancy. She wants a family back, and she's hoping that her daughter will marry a nice boy and give her grandkids so she can have a family again. She said she never brought up having more kids with me because she figured I'd be against the idea. I don't know how I feel about having more kids with my wife, but it certainly won't happen now. So my wife is in therapy to try and get her to realize that she can't just view my daughter as a way to create family. She's doing well so far, but it's too soon to really tell. My daughter is also in therapy. She's been in therapy since she was a kid for bullying issues, but now her therapist is trying to focus on the meltdown situation with her. My daughter actually seems relatively unaffected by this whole situation, other than a little annoyed. I don't know if that's good or not. I took my daughter to Hot Topic for some back-to-school accessories and then took her out to eat. Just the two of us. She's still excited to go back to school. She misses her friends and her clubs. My wife and daughter have started talking normally again. We had a long talk, which I was present for, when my wife apologized for being so pushy and extreme with her wishes. My daughter was well receptive to this talk and seems to be back to her normal self. I'm keeping an eye on both of them to be sure. My wife is doing her best to understand my daughter's interests. Last I know, the two were watching some slasher TV show on Hulu as a way to bond, and it appears to be working. There isn't any bad blood between the two. I know things are soon, and that things can change, but so far, everything appears to be smoothing over pretty well. Thank you all for the advice, harsh and gentle, that I reviewed through my original post. It definitely slapped me in the face as what could happen if I didn't get both of them help and make them talk it out. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story, which comes from prank user 2046 and says, am I the arsehole here for punching my stepdaughter after she played a prank on me that scared me? I know the title sounds bad, but please read in throwaway plus fake names. I, 38 male, married Judd, 44 female, a few years ago, and I acquired a stepdaughter, Abby, 14 female, as a result. I dated Judd when Abby was 8, met her when she was 9, and married Judd when she was 10. I'd say our relationship is okay. She doesn't act bratty towards me and respects me enough as her mum's husband. However, there is one glaring issue about her, and that is her pranking nature. Abby loves to pull pranks. Some examples are her hiding my car keys with what looked like 100 duds in a box. I found them quickly because she failed to notice my keys have duct tape on them. Another one is when she hid in the fridge, something I still find very weird, to scare the first person who opened it. Well, last Wednesday I arrived home and it seemed that I was the only one there. Only my shoes were at the doorstep and I even called out Judd's and Abby's name with no answer. This is somewhat normal as Judd sometimes works late and Abby stays at school for extracurriculars. So I screwed around with my dog, a German Shepherd and Husky mix for anyone that will ask. And no pet tax. Tut 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 tut. For a bit, and then I decided to relieve myself. When I got to the bathroom, I noticed that the window cabinet was open. I thought nothing of it at first, and unzipped my pants, and I saw a shadow behind the shower curtains. I thought the worst and immediately punched the figure behind the curtains. Well, as everyone may have guessed it from the title, it was Abby. She was making a prank video, and I had not noticed that she propped her phone up on the bathroom cabinet with 2 cups. I'm not gonna lie, I did not hold back. I punched her as hard as I could. Her nose looked broken, and when I realized it, I flipped out and so did she. After maybe 5 minutes of freaking out, I drove her to urgent care and informed Judd of the situation. Her nose was indeed broken and would need about 6 to 12 weeks of recovery. Abby won't talk to me, and as for Judd, she thinks that my actions may have been justified, but also thinks I should have approached with more caution, which she has refused to elaborate on. So, am I the arsehole here? Let's start off with filming in the bathroom by itself in whatever state of undress you was going to be in. What the fuck's that about? And the simple fact is, you didn't know who was in that bathroom. You thought it was some kind of intruder and you was trying to defend your house and yourself. And I'm sorry that she's got a broken nose because that's unfortunate, but you know, fuck around, find out basically. But Judd needs to get on board with you that this is totally inappropriate. These pranks are getting stupidly out of hand and she could get herself in big trouble one day if she continues down this path. And you know myself, I like the odd prank. But you have to be 100% sure the other person is going to enjoy it, going to be on board with it, going to have a laugh with you about it afterwards. Has to be that type of person. But regardless of the fact, this one wasn't a prank at all. It was creepy and invasive. But Original Nightmare says not the arsehole. Get a copy of the video. If Abby starts bitching to people about how her stepdad broke her nose, you are looking at jail time. Get and keep a copy of the evidence that she startled you while you were peeing. You need to sit Judd and Abby down and have a serious conversation. Filming without consent while someone is in the bathroom is a massive invasion of privacy and illegal in many places. If she did this to another kid, it could be considered CP. While you are in the bathroom, you feel vulnerable while having your pants down and genitals out. Those feelings increases the fight or flight part of the brain, and that you reacted on instinct. Please include to Abby that you love her and never meant to hurt her. Lemony says, and why would a young girl think pranking a stepfather in the bathroom is ever a good idea? She should at least be talked to about pranking anyone in the bathroom, especially with a video. No Scarcity says, this is so unfortunate. People get killed for this. She's lucky she's alive. That's the normal reaction, to fight. As messed up as this is, stick firm because this is a life lesson. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Fortunately, it's all on tape, right? So you're protected. What she did is actually what's unforgivable. Her dumb antics are gonna get someone killed or put in jail. Her mother needs to address this. Not one more prank, ever. Pride of Cape Town says, how stupid does a 14-year-old have to be to not know that recording someone in the bathroom without their consent is a very bad idea? And what was the stupid prank? Boo, I scared you. I'm gonna put your reaction and pee-pee on social media. Not the arsehole, but you might want to get legal advice before a false and more sinister version gets circulated. Not So Average says, as a teacher, I can say that 14-year-olds are indeed very uninformed. I had a 14-year-old once who took 30 minutes to go to the bathroom. When he finally came back, because he was a kid who didn't usually cause trouble and I was worried, I privately asked, what the heck took so long? His response, I was waiting for people to leave the bathroom. I still didn't get it, so he elaborated. If you use a stall, you're probably trying to poo or do something that you need privacy for, and other people will see your feet under the stall and try to film you by putting their phones over the walls of the store. I started requiring that students trade their phones for the hall pass after that. Also told the administration, but they didn't do anything. Point is, yes, teenagers are that uninformed that behavior like this doesn't click as being problematic, not the arsehole. Oh, that gave me a flashback to middle school when a dude was peeping over my freaking stall. Sat there doing a number 2, looked up and there's a guy looking over. I reported it, but I'm not sure what kind of trouble he got into. Anyway, moving on. OP came in with an update and said, well, this blew up big time. Let's address a few things. Abby's pranking nature isn't just situated on me. She has pulled pranks on her friends, the neighbors, and at school. The school has called Judd several times about this as they have resulted in mild vandalism. The refrigerator prank. She was 11 when that happened, not a grown teenager. It was brand new and very large fridge that my uncle bought and showed it off to everyone. So she climbed in until he opened it again. Judd yelled at her saying that she could have suffocated in there and took her outside to scold her for a few hours. The video doesn't show the toilet at all, just the shower curtain. However, the issue still remains that this was a massive invasion of privacy. The video has been deleted and Abby has admitted it was purely her fault. The update. It's been a chaotic week. Judd still refused to elaborate on how the situation should have been handled. I showed the post and as a result, she did a 180 turn. She suddenly thought it may be time to stage an intervention and I agreed. We brought some of her friends as well as my cousin's wife, Jess. Jess is an officer from another state and Abby seems to respect her. In this intervention, we state how much we were each affected by her various pranks and how in turn they affected her. Jess also spoke about how much of these pranks border on criminal territory, meaning she could be arrested or face retaliation. It seemed to have gotten to her and Abby cried a bit and promised to do better. When everybody else left, Jess stayed behind and brought to our attention about a disciplinary camp that we could send her to. The program is 6 weeks long and involves group therapy, individual therapy, and constructive projects, whatever that means, and is held at university campus. The program apparently has good reviews. Judd seems dead set in sending her to figure out her core problems. I'm a little hesitant about sending a kid away from home, but I'm the step parent, so I got no say. Update. Okay, I swear Judd must be following my post because now she's taking back what she said and is now thinking about what I and you fellow Redditors suggested in the first place. Weekly therapy. So we agreed that I'm going to find a therapist and I'm going to front the bill for it since she didn't take it seriously in the first place. Zaneth says to OP, and quotes, the program apparently has good reviews, and then says, try to get more than just reviews. The troubled teen industry is pretty horrifying. There's a troubled teen subreddit for survivors. It's brutal. OP says, I'm aware. That's why I'm hesitant about this. Damn it, Gravity says, oh thank God. I'm glad you're aware of the troubled teen industry. My heart sank so low when I read that your friend was suggesting it. Maybe it's legit, but I do feel like it's a bit of an extreme response. Abby seems like a mostly good kid who just has this one stupid thing that's got stuck in her brain. Normal teen stuff. I find it interesting that Judd did a 180 after reading a post. Now seems to be going from one extreme to another. No real punishment to all punishment. I would think a bit more about that. I realize you're a step parent and likely have no say into how Abby is parented. But I find it very concerning your wife seems to be easily influenced by outsiders. Honestly, if Abby's able to keep her word to, if not end her pranks entirely, at least tone it down. I'd say you're all in the clear. Maybe suggest to Judd that if you keep this program in reserve in case she needs it, then that she have a chance to prove she's learned her lesson first. KA Irony says, sent away seems extreme. Have you looked into this program? Is it held at a religious college? You might just end up abused at some of these type of teen rehabilitation camps and also just exposed to kids that are worse. I realize it might not be your call, but I would suggest try local therapy first way before sending a kid off. Opie says, and I agree. Sending a kid away from home will probably just damage them more. But Judd seems intent on dishing out the harshest punishment, immediately thinking that this will nip it at the bud. Or she doesn't want to be seen as an enabler. She changed opinions real fast when I showed her the original post. I gotta admit, that did seem like really extreme, didn't it? Like the change, like to send her away to a camp? And I'm just glad to hear that a 180 was done on that. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care.